Okay, I already hear record. Good afternoon, everybody. So this is gonna be a smorgasbord of things that we're gonna discuss this afternoon. I know I sent an email and said we're gonna talk about AI, so we are gonna talk about that a little bit. But that recording is on the website or on the YouTube page, and I linked it in my Friday email. But we're also gonna talk about, we did a training last week on the mid-year report. We're going to talk about that. And then we're also going to talk about summer camp because we want to be straight with the summer camp field trips and the submission forms because those are coming up soon. So, y'all got anything y'all want to say, ladies?
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Rebecca, Dr. Pines, and my teammate is Alicia. My phone, I'm sorry, not my phone, but my computer's not working right now, so we're gonna have to put you on speakerphone, and we'll be talking a little low. But if you don't hear us, just let us know, because we have I don't have a computer to talk to you on, so I can have my headphones on. But if you have any questions, just please, by all means, just, yeah, you could just unmute or put it in the chat box and we'll go from there.
All right, so let's talk about mid-year report first since I have that up already. So I sent everybody, what you got? We did a revised mid-year report and we sent an email last week and did a training last week. I didn't want to wait until this week to do the training. That's why we did it last week, but it's available on the YouTube page. And I sent the form and all of that jazz out, and then you can resubmit. So for cohort 16, most of you do not have to resubmit because you have probably met most of your goals and objectives. You probably don't have to look back and say, oh, okay, I didn't meet all my goals for all 6 or 7 goals. But for cohort 7, who probably just started either in November or end of November or January, we want you to look at every goal and we want you to assess. So if you notice, we had a lot of people, so we didn't change this front form, and this is a fillable form, so you should be able to put something in every spot. And I gave you 2 templates. I gave it to you in Word, and I gave it to you in a fillable PDF. And if you want to digitally sign with your evaluator, that's fine, but your evaluator has to sign, and so do your site or program director. Just be mindful of that. So the first form is no different. The goals, measurable objectives, measurement, progress, and the strategies. So the first 3 boxes, columns are the same as pull it straight from your grant. Your progress, you should be able to either look in Easy Report and see, have you attained your attendance numbers that you put in there, or whatever your assessments are, look at that. What progress have you made? Which have you made it? Are you in progress? Are you at 50%? Where are you with that? And then your strategies for attaining that goal. So the next one, which is the confusing part, and we gave you a couple of pages for those because we know how many goals that you have, but you might have several measurable objectives. If you want to put one measurable objective per box, that's fine. So for the action plan, maybe a bunch of those. So for the action plan, we still gave you more boxes than you should need, but we added this column, areas for improvement, because a lot of people put their areas for improvement in the action step section. So we just added a column because apparently everybody wanted it to be a table. So we're good with that. So this is where your goals, your objectives should be. So think about, one box should be student attendance, one box should be STEM, one box should be, these are all of your goals, service learning, all of them. So make sure that you have at least one per goal. For cohort 17, address every goal. An action step. What are you doing? What is the actual action that should be taking place for this objective? So if it's attendance, you're going to recruit additional students, or you need to recruit staff, or you need to look at your data and see what is your next goal, what are you missing, and what should be the next action item to increase that number. So who are the responsible parties? That might include you, that might not, but that does not always have to just include you. It should be a team. So be mindful of that. And then the progress, again, have you met it? Are you working towards it? Is it not met? What's the percentage of students that you have? You can put anything in that progress report, progress box that is stating your actual progress on that. And then the strategy or next steps. What are you going to do going forward? And then that's the only thing we've updated with that. We added a new column because everybody wanted to put the objectives in a box anyway. Make sure that has signatures at the bottom, either site or program director and the external evaluator. Don't forget, if you have questions on that, let me know. Let Linda Williams know. We are free to answer questions on it at any point. You can call me, you can shoot us an email. Does not matter, but that's what we're here for. And then you're going to resubmit this. And I think the resubmit date is sometime in May, and she gave you a brand new link to resubmit. That's May 3rd. If you have questions, like I've had a lot of people who ask, well, I'm cohort 16 and I don't know if I should update it. Call me or send me an email and I'll go and look at yours and see, do you need to do updates? But I know a lot of the cohort 17, Linda Williams actually reached out to them, and that's why they know that they needed to update. Instead of us doing 15 individual trainings, we just decided, hey, let's train everybody because we missed the mark on making sure that everybody knew what was going on. So any questions on that? Let me know. I'm gonna switch my share and we're gonna talk about field trips. And I wanted to show where it is on the website, and that's why I let this kind of be up like this. So you see, I just searched for field trips, and then there's out that approved field trip list. It's still up there. It's hint, hint. But then here's your fillable form and your submission form. And then you can download from this. I want to do this one, or you want to do the other one next?
Okay, Erica, you can leave that up just for a second so we can go on and kind of talk about it from here. So the one thing that we all need to understand is that we know that the summer is coming up and that field trip submissions are due by May 15th. I know that some of you have sent yours to me. You have not gotten a response back, but know that you will get it back before May 15th, because what we're doing is you can either send them to myself or to Alicia. And what we will do is we will in turn send them to a TA, and the TA will go through it and make sure that, you know, everything that is needed for the field trip submission form, as well as the lesson plan, as well as that everything has been completed. And then they will send you an approval letter back indicating that your field trips have been approved, or they'll give you some notes as to what needs to be, excuse me, updated. So if you look at this particular field trip, the thing that you need to make sure of is that when you're completing these documents, that it is, well, first of all, it's great that it's a fillable form. So just make sure that every section is completed. We need to know the location, the specific address. We need to know the destination, what time you're leaving, what time you're returning. We also need to know the date of the field trip and how you're going to be getting there. Once you've done all of that, make sure that with those, it ties into your RFA. All of the field trips that you have, they must tie into your RFA, into to your objectives, or to your strategies that you have in your RFA. So when you're doing that, just make sure that you're paying attention to or referring back to your RFA so that your goals and your grant, I'm not your goal and your grants, but your field trip and your grant, they are in sync with each other. Also, when you're looking at this, it says you need to include an agenda. That is very important. We need to know when you're leaving the school, where you will be going when you're going on your field trip, where you will have lunch. The other key piece to this, when I say lunch, is that remember that no food can be purchased with 21st century funds. However, you can coordinate with your CMP person on at your campus to pack bag lunches for your students, or if you have a partner that's going to supply the lunch for the students. But just remember that you can build that lunchtime into your schedule or to your agenda, but just make sure that you are not using 21st century funds to purchase those lunches. And then also, as you're looking through this, if you notice down at the bottom, there's a process for preparing for your field trips. You need to build that background knowledge with those students about, what it is that they are going to be learning when they go onto this particular field trip. You can scroll down to the next page. So that background learning will hone in on everything that they need to look for when they go on to that field trip. And you can go to page 2, Erica. And then go back up just a little bit. Is that the top of the page 2? Okay. So with that, the standards, with the standards, you need to include those standards, and then you need to have that follow-up activity. The follow-up, the standards that when the students are attending that trip, those are the things that you want to make sure that they are getting when they participate in those field trips. And it can be, I want to say it can be a fun field trip, but that is not the only reason for the field trip. And I say that to say because there are, or there have been field trips to skating rinks. That's a fun activity. But in going to the skating rink, they need to be able to tie something back to your RFA, some standard that they can tie back. One thing I think maybe motion, whatever it is that you have in your, some type of STEM that they can tie to that field trip to the skating rink. And then once you get back, you need to have an activity to assess what was it that the students learned from this particular field trip. And then in that assessment, this is where you're going to kind of discuss it, and you'll go into more details on the lesson plan side of this. This is just your document stated, your submission form. But when you're doing that follow-up activity, we need to start trying to think outside of the box on things that the students can produce when they come back, rather than have them write out a paragraph about what did you learn on this particular field trip. Maybe have some type of art project that they can participate in, or some type of dialogue with another student where they kind of act out, or, just do something different to get them to really understand what that particular field trip was about and what you wanted them to learn from that field trip. All right, so you can go to the lesson plan.
And
Erica.
while she's doing that, I just want to emphasize too, because I've come across this sometimes when we're purchasing tickets to venues, they may include food as part of it. Be very careful to not purchase tickets that include food, because that goes with the cost if you're using 21st century funds. So you want to make sure that if you decide that you want, to purchase food with the ticket, that you show that you have a partner that's going to cover the cost of the food, and then the 21st century will cover the cost of that mission. So be very careful of that. I've kind of run across that with some of our grantees when they're purchasing admission tickets, that it does not include food, because we don't want to cause any red flags for any auditing purposes, to make sure that the 21st century funds are not being used towards food. That's real important. So just wanted to share that with you.
Okay, and then also that last form was the lesson plan form. This is the submission form. The submission form, on this particular form, the things that you really need to pay close attention to is that the superintendent or his or her designee must sign the form indicating that they know that you all are going on a field trip. The other piece that's very important is that the principal of the building that you will be utilizing, that person has to also sign that field trip form, the submission form, indicating that they know that you are going on the field trips during the summer. And then the executive director, that's just for the CBOs only. So if you're a CBO and you're hosting your program at a LEA or at a school from within a LEA, then you must have that superintendent's signature, the CBO's, the executive director signature, and the principal of that building. So you need to make sure that everyone that's in the administrative a RAM of your program, that they know exactly where you all are going and when you're going. So on this particular document, this document is the document that lists all of your field trips. So when you're submitting your field trips, you can submit them all at one time. And we prefer that you submit them all at one time. So there's only one approval process. So what we'll do is we'll go through each of the field trips that you're going to be hosting for the summer, and we'll go through and do that approval process for all of them, and then we'll send you that approval form back. And then therefore, we don't have to keep going back and forth. But if something should happen, there's no problem with us going back and forth if it's before May 15th. So you need to make sure that you have everything lined up for your field trips as it comes up, as the time is coming near. So you have about a month now to go on and start that planning process so that you can get all of your your submission forms and your lesson plans in for your field trips. And then on your submission form, the only other thing that you need to be mindful of is, of course, the date. And then on here, we need to know the location of your field trips, the date, the time that you're going to be leaving, how many students are you taking, how many adults will you be taking, and then what is the round trip mileage or the cost to send those. I'm sorry, it is just the mileage. How far is it to get to wherever it is that you're going? And then in that last box, the cost of that the field trip. That includes the total cost. That includes the transportation in addition to the cost of the tickets for the field trips. All right. Are there any questions on any of the documents or the two documents that you have to submit for your field trips? Okay. And now Alicia has another thing that something else she wants to say.
So to add to the field trip information,
Mm.
we have been partnering with the literacy camp, and we are really, really stressing allowing those students who are in the Alabama literacy camp during the morning time that they have the opportunity to join your 21st century camp. Remember, they cannot just automatically go on a field trip. They cannot just automatically start in your program without having an official registration on hand. So you want to make sure we've talked with we've talked with Summer Learning, and we've collaborated with the process of just having one registration form that will be duplicated for your records so that it won't be a hardship on the family. The other thing is making sure that those students that are participating in the field trip have, number one, registered, and then number two, hopefully you all are initiating or have started your collaborative efforts and planning so that whatever's being taught for math and reading and then into enrichment is not an isolation of subjects. Hopefully it is flowing into your program, what has been taught through the morning hours or the time that has been designated as the literacy or math literacy, reading or math literacy camp, so that it's not a breakage for the student, that it is actually providing more information for them with their knowledge, because they are going to be tested, pre and post tested. And we want to be able to show that as a result of our program, it just further help that student to be able to perform, to do well. It has grown them, and hopefully with whatever they need in order to be successful. So our field trips, you know, it's good to choose great field trips. They can be fun, but look at those standards that are being addressed during the literacy camp part, so that when you're looking at your enrichment, then you tag on a field trip that's going to be hands-on, fun, and then it's going to, you know, help the student to remember what was being taught so that it ties all in. So we want to make sure we remove ourselves from just working in isolation. So just keep that in mind when you are doing your field trips. but I just wanted to bring that to your attention. And it's so important to make sure that, like Rebecca said earlier, this sheet goes first. Do know, even if the superintendent and the principal have signed, if we have not received it by the date of May 15th, and it has not been approved, you cannot take the students on the field trip. So that's really, really important because of the funding source. We have to be the ones to make the final decision of approval. So we don't want to catch you in the situation where you had all of your signatures, but you didn't get them in time because this person and that person was out of pocket. As Rebecca stated, there are different important people that have to sign off, and their schedules get a little bit busy. So that's why we wanted to make sure that everybody's aware of that due date that's coming up.
Are there any questions on anything that we've covered as far as field trips are concerned? Okay. All right, Erica, we're going to turn it back over to you.
Share my screen. All right, everybody see that? No, I don't see the wrong thing. Let's swap. Swap this buttons. Oh. All right. So I'm gonna give y'all pieces of the AI training that we did. And the PowerPoint slides are on the website. And if you have questions, hey, call me. I like to talk about this stuff. So basically, this is talking about ChatGPT. There are a lot of other AI search engines or programs that can help with education. But my main thing, the reason I came up with this or really started researching further about this was efficiency and time savings. So yes, you can enhance your learning outcomes. Yes, you can broaden your accessibility and data-driven insights, all that stuff. But for after school, I felt like we got to figure out how to save y'all some time. Even if that meant, and that's for teachers and non-teachers that work in the program, because these lesson plans have to be a certain way, and we want you to hit all of these things. But a lot of people got tripped up when the State Department said, hey, add in the standards. I had people, oh, I don't know the standards. I don't know where to find the standards. I don't know how to implement the standards, but they were doing lessons that were great and could be tied into the standards just fine. So instead of doing multiple Google searches to try to figure out how to link it all together, I just said, hey, let's use ChatGPT to try to let ChatGPT search Google, put you a lesson plan together, and it's a basic form. And then you pretty much put your sauce on it or add stuff based on your students. And that's where the accessibility part comes in, because you can also put in a lesson plan and say, hey, tailor this to my student that is reading on a second grade level, even though this is a fifth grade level activity, those type of things. So let's go. So some of the challenges with AI, people are fearful of AI. I know a lot of people who have not logged on to ChatGPT. You think about the movie with Will Smith where, the robots are taking over, and I mean, they possibly are, but they're already here. They're already listening to you. You have a conversation about you need something, and then all of a sudden the Facebook ads pop up for that item. It's not going to stop. So let's figure out how to make our lives easier with it. And one of those ways is lesson plans. So Ethical and privacy concerns, that's first and foremost. Let's still consider our FERPA stuff. Don't put student activities, student names, student date of birth. Don't put any personal information into any AI platform or Google. It's literally creating a file or a document on you that can be searchable by somebody. So you don't want to put that type of things in there. So let's say I want to create a letter for my parents because, hey, it will. I want to do a letter to let my parents know that what we've been doing to lead up to summer camp or something like that. I'm gonna put in my filters. Hey, create me a letter on summer camp planning. These are my dates. This is my audience. I'm asking for parents, and I want them to know XYZ. You feed that into ChatGPT and it comes up with a form letter, but just be mindful, don't put private information in there. So you could be putting the behaviors, other things that we use this for. You can write up a child. Okay, well, I want to do a write-up for a behavior problem. Don't put their name in it. Skip the name part, student name or student, and then put whatever you want to write them up for. Those are the privacy things that I'm saying don't add in there. Skip people's names, skip people's birthdays, skip all of that thing. Equity and access, the same thing I said earlier about you can make a lesson plan up or down depending on who's in your class and what their needs are. So that's one way that I like to use it. Teacher training and acceptance, trying to get everybody on board with, okay, the lesson plans have to be this, or we're trying to teach a new tool, even as far as, hey, same way you ask Siri things or you ask Alexa things, you're going to ask ChatGPT that same thing. You're going to give it prompts. So help me explain whatever the subject is to a 65-year-old teacher who has whatever. Like, give it whatever you think and let it pop out something, read that, and then, well, I feel like I need something else. Like, go back and tweak. Depersonalizations, what we already talked about, making sure that you don't personalize it, don't put anybody's information in there. And then technical challenges, it's still only going to give you what you put in, and it's still things that you're probably going to need to check. Excuse me. So be mindful of that. Let's see. Introduction to a personalized, we pretty much talked about this. So we're gonna skip those. Skip that. I'm skipping around, y'all. But if any of this, you want to know, call me, let me know. These are some other AI platforms that are used for different things. Brittany Reeves from Gulf Shores helped me with these. So some examples, Dreambox Learning. This is one. Carnegie Learning Mathy. This is another one. It seems like Khan Academy, but you can ask it a question, which I liked. Let's skip that. I want to go to, and this is a list of different AI resources that's on the website too. I haven't used all of those, but a good number of those I got from Brittany. But she had different ways that you can use all of them. So, okay, so here's the activity that we did. And I'm just going to tell y'all a little bit. So if you don't have a ChatGPT account, you go to the website. It's OpenAI, or you can just Google ChatGPT and it'll open up OpenAI website with the chat or something. I suggest that you sign up not with a school web email address, but with a Google or AOL, whatever your other, generic email address is. So you sign up using that platform, use the free version, not the paid version. And then what I had everybody do was think about a lesson plan for, I like to celebrate holidays. So let's say I want to create, and you're prompting ChatGPT. So I want to create a lesson plan for fourth graders on, what's the next holiday coming up? This 4th of July, Independence Day, incorporating music, STEM, and history, and link it with with Alabama state standards. It's going to give you a whole lesson plan. You can then say, and I had people in my class at NAA say, well, okay, then I asked it to create me an art project for this same thing, and it'll just be a box that's at the bottom that you can keep going with it. Create me an arts and crafts lesson plan on this same subject, incorporate music. Then it gave you another activity. Then she went further and said, okay, create me a physical education activity with this same, and it created her physical education. And what I like, then she said, create me a newsletter article to share with my parents on this week of activities. And I thought, okay, you have a week's worth of activities that you just did off of this one thing. Another person in the class said, give me 10 themes for summer camp surrounding animals. And it gave her 10 things. Then you can go in and say, oh, okay, give me a lesson plan for reading, for math, for each, each one of your goals and objectives. And excuse me, it created that for her. And then you can say, hey, do me a newsletter. Of course, all of these things, they're not going to be personalized, but this is going to give you the opportunity to share, to be able to regain some of your time back so that you have some time to do your thing and put your sauce on it and personalize it. So that's what I like about AI and ChatGPT creating lesson plannings. If you want more information and put some sauce on it, is my thing for these, and verify, but make sure that the state standard is the correct state standard. But if this can help you put a lesson plan together and link it with the state standard so that you can fill out the forms that the State Department is asking you and you can have your documentation of your activities, then that's a win in my book. And that's what I want to do, is try to make this 21st century process. I know we get this money and then we get all of these, oh, I got to fill out all these forms and all that. Me, TPI, the State Department, we are all trying to figure out how to help y'all in this process, make this process easier for you so that you can spend the time doing exactly what we want y'all to be doing with the kids. So just, if you have questions on this, if you want to know more information, reach out, send me an email. We can jump on a Zoom. I'm all about helping in whatever way. If you want to, hey, I got some questions on how I can make my summer camp better, or I can expand this theme that I came up with, I am all willing to jump on a Zoom and brainstorm with you. Because I mean, at the core, we're all educators. And I had a summer camp for years and I missed summer camp. I do my 1 week with my high schoolers and it fulfills my need, but spending time with y'all doing lesson planning or just brainstorming in some way, I'm open for it. So let me know.
Okay. So are there any other questions or concerns that you all may have about anything at this point so that we can address them now? Okay. All right. Well, then that concludes our office hours for today. We will look forward to seeing you. What's our next date? Right on. We'll have it sent out by Erica on the next date, the next date for our hours. But if you have any concerns or if you need anything, please by all means, reach out to Alicia or myself, or even out to TPI, and we'll get anything that you need done for you as quickly as we possibly can. All right, Erica, do you have any words?
Thank y'all for getting your high schoolers to come and register for the 21st century camp. For the first time, we have more than enough kids
Wow.
registered for the high school camp. So I sent out an email today. So if you sent me students register and they met the April 1st deadline, make sure that them and their parents check their email. I sent out an email today. They have until next Monday, so the 15th, to click on that link and tell me, yes, I am coming. Yes, I am committing to volunteering. So, because I do have some people that are on a wait list and I have more students that I need. So I want to make sure that I can fill all 30 of my slots. I'm really excited, and we have a really fun-filled summer planned.
Okay. Erica, one other thing that we need you to say, let them know about is the risk assessment form, when it will be coming out, and will you send it out in the email? When?
Yeah, she's gonna send it out in a, okay, so you all, we have the risk assessment that is required by the federal government that has to be completed. We are finalizing some things with the form. You will receive it from Erica along with a recording on how to complete the form. It's a self-assessment. It also has with it what our requirements are when we are looking at it so that it will not catch anyone off guard because it is used as a means of to determine the risk as far as if you're high, low, or no risk at all when it comes to the implementation of the grant. So you can expect to get that probably what, Eric, about a week, about a week from now
Yeah.
about it. And then they'll have a due date of when it's due. So just know that it's coming out soon. And I just kind of wanted you all to just be prepared for it. It is a situation where you're going to have to sit down with some key persons before making your decision, such as your CSFO, because it's going to be covering finances and budgeting. You're going to need to talk with the person that's taking care of your easy reports because it's just not one single person that's going to be handling it to give an overall view. Is going to ask you specific questions as to your implementation, as well as how often you have been turning in important documents to us. So it's a self-reflection on you, but on us, we actually pull the documentation in order to make that decision. So just know that it's coming out soon. Just wanted to share that with you.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. Thank you all for joining us today. All right. Erica.
That's it. Y'all have a good one.
All right. Thank you all. Bye-bye.